Surprise! It's zetamath reaction time. Uh, Hello again. We're going to watch Simon's solve of 9 rooms, and I will tell you all of the secrets about setting this puzzle. Uh, at least all of the secrets of which I am aware. Uh, the first thing I can tell you about this puzzle is that I maintain a list of all the ideas I have that I don't use, and it is about 28 pages long at the moment. So if I have an idea or whatever, I started this very near when I started setting, and I started setting about 3 years ago. Uh, the other day, for the first time in a bit, I decided to start reading at the beginning and see if anything struck my fancy. And from the first page came almost exactly the idea of the rule set for this puzzle, 9 rooms. What it said in the idea was pill in each box that tells you the sum of the digits next to the 4. The only thing I changed was I thought it would be more interesting if I summed the digits next to the box number instead. Also, I'm not sure if I have live chat or not. Oh, I don't have live chat. I don't know if I can find the chat. Let me try and find it. What?
I'll fix it.
How?
Give me.
Oh.
Like, how are you going to fix it from there? Hey.
Am I even live?
You're live.
Thank you, honey. You saved us. Oops. As I pull my chair apart now. Fortunately, I think I was able to put it back together without Tristan's help. There are a very slim number of things I can do without Tristan's help. But I was able to at least half put the chair back together. Alrighty. So with that introduction, let's watch Simon's introduction. And I'll probably say more as once Simon talks about the rules. Apparently it is Doctor Who's 60th birthday, I learned.
Hello and welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and lots of happy Fibonacci Day. Let's start with that. 1123. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our American friends. Happy birthday, Doctor Who, who's turned 60 today. I did used to watch Doctor Who as a child. It used to scare the whatsits out of me. But I actually lost track of it, and apparently it's got a lot better in recent years. But yeah, who do I remember? Tom Baker. I think Tom Baker was.
Who is everyone's favorite doctor in chat? We'll see who gets the point
anyway,
for agreeing with my favorite
We've got
doctor.
other birthdays to do other than Doctor Who's later on in the video. But the puzzle we're going to be trying today is called 9 Rooms, and it's by the great Zetamath. Now I have
Matt Smith is a great choice. Christopher Eccleston is my favorite,
and they are very unusual. I have never seen this rule set before. It's got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty on Logic Masters Germany. We had several recommendations to look at it, so I've no doubt it's brilliant. All Zetamath's puzzles are brilliant. Yeah, and I'll read you the rules in a moment or two's time. But things to mention first. Let us start
McCoy
with
is my favorite old
shout out
one
for our
sure.
Kickstarter, which is going great guns. This is to make the perfect puzzle nerds Christmas present, full of fog of war Sudokus and a novella surrounding them, written by Peter C. Hayward, or being written by Peter C. Hayward, actually, I should say. And the Kickstarter has reached its minimum goal, so it's definitely going to happen. Yeah, the thing that's happening now is how many puzzles there'll be for a stretched goal. We've already got a puzzle by Jay Dyer in the works, a puzzle by Chile. I should ask zetamath, shouldn't I? Zetamath. Fog of War. It'd be lovely to have a zetamath puzzle, of course, in any puzzle pack. So maybe the great man.
I'll have to figure out how to actually set a Fog of War puzzle. I always mean to set a Fog of War puzzle.
Now, what else did I need to mention? Over on Patreon, we haven't quite released
He did point at me.
Solution.
I wonder what everyone else
November
saw during that point in the video while he was talking to me.
Which was Demono's Sudoku hunt, and that is because Demono, who is making said videos, is trying to dodge COVID in his house, and apparently that is quite challenging at the moment because all of the people he lives with have COVID, so he's having to be very careful. But we will have them with you soon. But we think it's much better that Demono stays fit and healthy, if at all possible. So
good luck,
fingers
Demono.
crossed for Demono. But the other thing we have got over on Patreon is my 3-hour solve of Darth Paradox's Phenomenon, which is a Fog of War puzzle like no other. It is a brutally difficult and fascinating problem. And if you really do like your Lord of the Rings length
Simon looking
Sudoku
for
videos,
3-hour puzzles,
then do check that out. We are going to release it on the channel. I think that's what Mark said is the plan. But probably that will be not this weekend; it will be next weekend. So if you can't wait and you're not a patron already, then do think about it. It is quite good value. We think it's a couple of bucks a month, and there's all sorts of extra content over there. Now, what else can I tell you about? Let me think. I don't think there's much else actually. I've got a nagging feeling there was something I was meant to say. Oh, Chance of Sonar. I think it's next Tuesday night at 10 o'clock.
Good to know, Jay.
I'd love to have your company for the third instalment of Mark and I botching the game. But yeah, 10 o'clock. We'd love to see you. Now, some birthdays to do. I'm going to actually full deck. It is Full Deck's birthday today, and I know this because missing a few cards.
I have the impression from how many 3-hour puzzles that Jay Dyer has set that she can set them in about 90 minutes.
Maths professors over there in the United States, and I can tell you, am I meant to tell you this, Full Deck? I probably am. I think Mark is intending to try a puzzle by the two of you, but not today because Fibonacci Day today took precedence and Mark had a Fibonacci Day puzzle to do. But I think he was planning to attempt your puzzle tomorrow.
Well,
now,
congratulations, Full Deck, and missing a few cards.
He does have trouble with it, and that video doesn't appear.
I did adore them during the Stokuhan stream. It was delightful.
You beat him.
They were quite delightful.
But anyway, it's a happy birthday. It's potentially a birthday present. I hope it's good enough, and I hope you have chocolate cake, obviously. But I've got 2 other birthdays to do. I'm going to say happy 13th birthday to Gobby. Gobby, apparently you're an aspiring puzzle constructor, and you're currently making a puzzle book to sell at your school's Christmas fair, craft fair, with your younger brother Zeke Fish. I remember Zeke Fish. Zeke Fish has had a puzzle featured on the channel, I think when Zeke Fish was only 8 years old. I might be wrong about that, but that's what rings a bell. Anyway, your dad Ben wrote to me, Gobby, and said that the dad Ben watches every night, and he's still not as good a solver as you are, Gobby. So that's fantastic to hear, and I hope you have a brilliant birthday today. Good luck with the puzzle book, and I hope you get chocolate cake, obviously. And then we had a really lovely email as well.
I guess it comes on. Jay is talking about doing Fibonacci puzzles and being tripped up by the starting with 1-1. It all depends on where you start. For me, I'm sort of fond of starting with 0-1. But works either way. But I guess you just say if you were going to do it in a puzzle, you'd probably want to start with 1-2 or something like that.
Well, from Southern California, from Raphael, in which he described actually getting COVID very badly in August 2021, and that CTC videos had helped during a lengthy hospital stay, and then starting to watch our stream of The Witness, which we did a couple of years ago, with his then 6-year-old daughter Aurora, who has watched them on repeat ever since, which is lovely because today is Aurora's 8th birthday. So
I
many
did
happy
love
returns,
watching
Aurora.
Simon do
It's
The
lovely
Witness.
to hear
That was so
you're
cool.
watching.
The Witness is my favorite
You're
game
watching
ever, so
little
it was
old
great
me
seeing
streaming The Witness.
seeing Simon playing it.
And apparently your middle name is Daenerys as well. Well, that is jolly cool. And but I know Raphael, when your daddy, when he was in hospital, he missed the birth of your sister, Aurea.
They were
I think
epic.
her name was.
Simon's puzzle intuition is just scarily good.
So I wanted
and
to shout out her name as well.
seeing him solve the
But
Witness
anyway,
puzzles really
Aurora,
did do that.
many happy returns. Your daddy sends you a message. He says he loves you very much, and he wishes all the best.
Ooh,
for you in
F0
life,
equals 13.
and to
I love
strive
it.
for
Definitely
excellence
do
and
that, Jay.
mastery in all you do. And actually, I will add something to that. I will say, try and do something you love in life. That would be my recommendation. If you possibly can. It's not always possible to do what you really love. But if you can,
A lot of people tell me that, Colin, when they
really
whenever they
enjoy.
watch me react to Simon videos.
It will make
I
you
can't
happy.
quite process it at 2x
Anyway,
speed, but I definitely
that all
understand
said and
why
done,
with how
why
long
don't
the
we do
videos
some
are.
Sudoku solving now and have a look at 9 Rooms by zetamath. These are the rules today. They are strange. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. So we've got to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Cells with a solid grey square contain an even digit. So we've got 3 of those. These all
I can
have to be
hide
even.
my camera.
And cells with a solid grey
So
circle
that you can read
contain
the
an
rules
odd
while
digit.
Simon goes
so
on
those
them,
two have to
over
be
them,
odd
and then I will
digits.
put them back later.
The circle or
Possibly.
pill in box N records the sum of all the digits within box N that are orthogonally adjacent to the digit N within the box. 2-digit totals are read left to right, top to bottom. Okay, so this, imagine that was a 2 and this was a 5. That would be read as 25 rather than 52. I think that's fairly clear, isn't it? Okay, and then there's an example which I think is very helpful. So it says, for example, the pill in box 6, so these two numbers here, contains the sum of each digit that is both in box 6 and orthogonally adjacent to the 6 in box 6. So we've got to put 6 somewhere in this box. Let's put it there. So then what the rule is saying is that you add up the 4, in this case 4 I suppose, it doesn't have to be 4 because we could have put the 6 in other places, but if we put it in the middle, it's adding those 4 digits up, and then we would put that total into those 2 squares. And if we put the 6 somewhere else, if we put the 6 there, then we're adding those 3 up, aren't we? Because those...
I will say, so I wrote these rules, and I this is one of those puzzles where I knew what the rules were, and then I went to write it down, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to write down these rules, and people are going to hate the way that it's worded. And then so I posted it in testing, and I was like, please tell me if you don't understand these rules, or if you take a while to understand them, how I could say it so you'd understand it faster. And then every tester said, no, I understood the rules instantly. And then I got a message from the Henry Pye James about not understanding the rules. But then before I checked the message, Henry had already said, no, I actually did understand the rules. I just misread a word, but actually they're fine. So I got the approval of the ultimate legalese stater of rules. So apparently it was okay. I was very concerned about how I was going to write these rules, particularly given that I designed this with the intention that this would be a more straightforward puzzle than all of them. I did not want it to be that the hardest part of the puzzle was reading the rules. That's not ideal.
3. I think this example is to make it clear that we're not adding this one. So we're only adding the digits that are adjacent to 6 in this box. Now,
yeah, so the title 9 rooms is because the way this constraint works, it doesn't see anything outside of the box. So this is like 9 little mini puzzles, as someone put it. The only sort of interaction between the two or between the boxes is between those. Henry actually rated it as a 3. Henry lately has been rating my puzzles at exactly where they end up on LMD. So we have that. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.
Okay, and for those of you who don't know, obviously the boxes in Sudoku are numbered in their normal reading order. So this is box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is presumably going to be very important to solve the puzzle. Anyway, very unusual rule set. It's meant to be a brilliant puzzle. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video.
Oh, yes, I can put my camera back on. Also, when I was thinking of the title, my original title that I had was something like Room Numbers or something like that, but it sounded a lot like Numbered Rooms, so I tried to, which is just a different Sudoku rule that has absolutely nothing to do with this puzzle, so I have... So I had to go back and try and figure out how I could sort of capture the idea without it sounding like it was going to be a numbered rooms puzzle.
As usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I think there's one thing I can think of to start with here, which is that I'm going to
funnily enough, Jay,
that none of the
6 seconds ago, I had that exact idea of, you have to figure out what the box numbers are, which would be a lot of fun because you could get some really weird sort of back and forth kinds of deductions. I like that idea quite a bit. The other thing I kind of want to do is I want to do this, except you get the product of the digits that are next to n instead of the sum of the digits that are next to n, because that gives you a lot more ones places. Because as Simon is about to note, the ones place in this puzzle is quite restricted.
These tens digits could be a 3. Yeah, that must be right. That must be right, because you could make 4 digits in a box of Sudoku add up to a number that began with 3, but it would be the number 30 if they were the numbers 6, 7, 8 and 9. Oh, in fact, that's not going to work anyway. In all these positions, that doesn't work. Because the tens digit in all of these positions is actually seen by the central cell, which is the only cell that can see 4 different numbers. So, yeah, it doesn't work for a few different reasons, but let's try and make... I mean, even if we made these 4 cells as big as we could, they would only add up to 30, and we can't write 30 into a pill because we can't use 0. So that doesn't work.
I also had
and
the
that means that
horrifying
each
idea
one
of doing an
these
S cell
tens
version of
digits-
this puzzle where you could make 30, but then I did not do that.
This must be a 1 or a 2. Now, that one, therefore, would be interesting if it was a 2. Well, it would not only be interesting, it would be wrong. It would be wrong, I think, because if that's a 2, we're now being told to add those numbers up.
I have not said an S cell puzzle since Kodama.
Oh, it's lovely, actually. It's very clear. So I was thinking it was going to be very hard to get to a 20 number, but in fact, it's impossible to get to a 20 number for a lovely reason, which is that this digit it's included in both sums in the sense that whatever this number is, let's say it was 27, then this is a 7. But in order for it to be 27, these two, because this is 7, would have to add up to 20. And that's going to be the case whatever you make this number. Whatever you make that number, it's always included in the count for this pill. So you're adding those 2 digits up to get that number, which you can't make 2 digits in Sudoku add up to 20. It's actually impossible, even if you could repeat the 9. So this is a 1. This is... I was going to say this is a 2. No, these aren't aligned. Oh, that's just appalling Sudoku skills, isn't it? I thought we were going to be straight into this. All right, so this is a 1. What do we know about 2 now? Anything? Yes, we do know something. It can't go there, because if it goes there, I'm adding these 2 digits up to get 12, and one of those digits is a 1, and that's not going to work because we can't put 11 into the other cell. Okay, so 2.
Are we going to quarter mark 2 in 5 places?
No,
because
okay,
I'm
so
here
2
for
can't go here either, can it? Because the only number we could put here to get this pill up to a double-digit number would be a 9, but that would require us to put 0 here. So 2 is in a U pentomino, I think. But I have no doubt there might be...
I don't do bet
Well,
trees for
actually,
live
no, hang on.
reactions.
So this digit is now at least a 3, so it's at least 13 is the total. It's still okay. I was wondering whether this was precluding us putting a 2 in the corner, because a 2 in the corner in either of those two positions is causing us to sum 2 digits to get this number.
Unfortunately, annoyingly
But I think
easy
it's
to get
fine,
2
isn't it? I
digits
mean,
in a
13
Sudoku
in
puzzle
2
to sum
digits
to a teenage number.
is no problem at all.
As was a huge problem when trying to set
so
this puzzle.
Maybe a better place to look is going to be row 5 then, where one of these digits has to be a 2. Now, if one of those digits has to be a 2...
So fun fact, the pill in box 6 is completely unnecessary. I only added it because it worked out that I could, and it was pretty. So it just by coincidence, once the puzzle was done, happened that the pill in box 6 could be added, and it smoothed over one part of the solve path in a way that I liked and did not break any of the other parts of the solve path. But if he gets somewhere by examining the box 6 pill, it is not somewhere. It's not something I saw when I looked at it.
One of these boxes has to be, so either the 6 in this box or the 4 in this box has to be.
It's not a red herring. It makes one of the steps easier. So it's not only there aesthetically. What will later happen, and so in the version without this pill, you have to do a giant amount of not knowing which is which between column 7 and column 9. And so this is something that if you did Alarm, which is my puzzle that I published before this, there's this huge sort of break-in where you have to do all of this stuff kind of in your head because you don't know which is left and which is right, basically. You had to do that with column 7 and 9, and this just tells you immediately this just tells you immediately which is which I think makes for a way better solving experience. I really don't like, and I really actually tried very hard in Alarm to make it so you didn't have to get as far as you did. I really don't like making people sort of think far ahead before they know which way is which. I try and break that as soon as I possibly can. And so, in fact, not only was the pill pretty, which I was happy about, the pill also did that and then didn't do anything else that I found untoward. So I was like, okay, fine. So I left it.
Be adjacent to digits, orthogonally connected to digits that add up to at least 20. At least 21, I suppose. Yeah, but if you put the... Let me just think about this. If you put the 4 in the middle, and that was a 2, and that was a 1, that's fine. That's not even difficult, is it? These digits would have to add up to 19.
It's true. Okay. The title would have had to be 8 rooms.
So that's...
There would have had to be there would have had to be lore about why 6 was
not
included
very clever
or was excluded. What about the single circles then? The single circles. So this circle is telling us wherever the 5 is. Yeah, it's weird actually. Maybe the single circles are more restricted than the pills. That's my first thought. Because 5... Well, yeah, okay, so the box number never goes in the central position in a box which has a single cell clue. I mean, it's a very small point. But for example, this can't be a 7. So this is very much my sort of early setting style kind of puzzle, in that there are a million tiny little deductions like that one, like that you can't put a single digit number in the center, which are not individually difficult, but that you get to use like basically exactly once, and then you get to find another cute little deduction like that. And I tend to like, when I can, having puzzles that have a bunch of distinct deductions that are similar. And so one of the reasons I really liked this rule set for setting is that the fact that each box had a different number in it meant that you could have different deductions based on what number was missing. So, like, 1, for example, cannot be in the sum in box 1, which is going to be relevant. Oh, no. Jay wants to put a negative constraint on this rule set. That sounds terrifying. I, at some point, contemplated having pills that were in the grid that referenced where the sum, not for their own box, but for an indicated box, like just have a killer cage over here that says 9, and then that says it's giving you the sum of the digits in box 9 that are next to the 9 or something like that. But it turned out I did not need to do anything like that, at least for the first version of this. If I do some other version of this, then I might do something like that. The reason why I wanted to do that, by the way, is because I wanted there to be more Sudoku interaction that was sort of scripted, because it's very difficult, as you'll see, if you try and set with this rule set, to get interactions that work the way you want them to. Because you, for example, let's say hypothetically place the 9 in box 1, doesn't really do anything because it's not looking at box 9. And so you have to do all of these sorts of things. Oh, I love MicroStudy's idea of to add a circle that indexes which box it's talking about. That sounds great.
Can it? And the reason I don't think this can be a 7 is that we're now summing those 4 cells to get to a single digit total, and the triangular number for 4, i.e. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, is 10. So it's not single digit. So we can't make any box that has a single digit circle have the number of its box in the, so we can't have 9 there. I mean, it's a tiny point. It's a tiny point. 3 can't be there.
I originally tried to make all the sums a single circle, so I tried not to have any pills, which I'm sure is possible, but it did not lead to a like nice smooth break-in like what I eventually think I found. At least I thought the break-in here was smooth and clear. Simon has one more little deduction to go before he gets his next deduction, or his next big sort of flurry of activity. But yeah, I think it would be a nightmare to do this with only single circles.
1 can't be here. 1 can't be there or there. Or in the 1 is not even.
So Karen asks why triangular numbers are called triangles. And so what you're supposed to imagine is you're stacking cannonballs. And so you could have a stack of, say, 2 cannonballs with 1 cannonball on top of it, and then 3 cannonballs with then 2 and then 1. And so that would be like a triangular arrangement of cannonballs. And the triangular number is the number of cannonballs that are in that arrangement. That's how I think of it.
Knowledge bomb for you, cracking the cryptic. Oh, you probably assuming you can't put 1 in it. Oh, well. Hang on. My brain is just short circuiting there as I think about this. 2 things about that. 1. So 1 in this box, because we've worked out it can't go in the central square, is in one of 4 places. Now, 2 things. Firstly, how could this possibly be a 1? It can't possibly be a 1. I mean, that's very obvious in this instance, because that would be saying that...
Okay, so something that broke my heart in this puzzle is that it's possible for a number to go in its own circle. 1 can't, 2 can't, but say 9 could easily go in its own circle, as long as the digits around it sum to 9. However, just because of the way the break-in worked, it turned out it was not possible to have any number fit in its own circle, which is the reason I want to set another puzzle like this, just because that didn't happen here and I feel obligated to make it happen. It was my one sort of regret at the end of this, was that I just couldn't do it. But it was more or less provably impossible almost from the very beginning to do it in this particular arrangement.
But these 2 digits have to add up to 1. I think it's quite difficult in a lot of the other boxes to put the box number in the circle. Maybe No, you can't do it here. You could if the circle had been in a corner in this box. So if that had been the circle and been a 3, you could have put 1 and 2 next to it. And that would have been the correct count. But because this is here, it's adding up 3 numbers. So that can't be a 3. That can't be a 5. Because, again, we're adding up 3 numbers. And 3 numbers, 1 plus 2 plus 3, is at least 6. Can that be a 7? Only if these squares are 1, 2, and 4. That's probably fine, actually. So that one can be 9. That's fine. Okay. All right, sorry. So there is a minor point there. But the other thought I had, which I think is correct, is how could you put the 1 adjacent to the circle? Am I going mad? Or that can't possibly work, can it? Because if what the circle is saying, that it is the sum of all of the cells that are adjacent to the 1. And that then includes itself in the count, if you see what I mean. So,
notably, if you do S cells, which traditionally allow you to have the digit 0 as well, this deduction also breaks, because then you could have the number adjacent to its own circle as long as it was configured exactly correctly, which is also part of why I spoiler, did not make this an S cell puzzle.
let me show you. If that's a 1, we're adding up those 3 squares to equal this square. Well, that must require these 2 to be zeros, and that's not going to work. So you can never, and that's a generalizable point. That is a generalizable point in the sense that that will work anywhere where we're looking at a single digit total. You simply can't do it. It's going to have interesting interactions for the pills as well, now I think about it, but I think it's far more.
Add 2 zeros. There's your sort of Doku. Add 2
single
zeros.
digit circles. So you can instantly say none of those can be a 7. Because then you're including the circle in the count. None of those can be a 9. None of these can be a 3. None of these can be a 5. I mean, well, the place it really matters is here, isn't it? None of those can be a 1, so we're actually getting a 1 in this box. Well, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. This rule is weird. Okay, hang on. Let's just see why that's beautiful. Well, now I'm adding those 3 digits. Do I want to use blue? No, I don't feel like I do. I can't really see. I don't know whether it's just my light today.
It does sort of
gray
hide the gray
box
square.
Here seems quite difficult to see. But look, I'm adding 3 digits together now because these are the 3 cells that are next to the 1. And they can't include a 1. Well, they must be 2, 3, and 4 adding up to 9 then. So we can just write those in.
Okay, so the hardest conceit for me, or one of the hardest conceits for me, was deciding if I was going to do only pills or if I was going to do something else, and if so, what the other thing was. So I ended up deciding on odd even squares because I wanted to place this 1. And I had so many versions of this break-in that put this 1 here instead by ruling out that it was here. And I had a bunch of cute ways to do that. But the problem with a whole bunch of cute ways to put the 1 here instead of here is that it doesn't force anything. And so then I was just immediately stuck if I didn't have anything. And so I spent a really long time trying to figure out, like, okay, what way do I want to force that the 1 is here and not here? And of course, there are a scadzillion options for how one might use a Sudoku rule to force this cell to not be a 1. But I wanted them to not distract from the central rule, which means that I wanted to guarantee that it did not involve summing, for example. So anything involving, like, adding was out. I contemplated, like, quadruples or something. In the end, I decided that these even squares were the nicest, and it ended up being super convenient because then it ended up being natural for me to use a similar tool to use the even squares and the odd circles. Of course, this is our returning even square Alfonso in box 1.
Now this one is even, so it is not 3. So we get a 2, 3, 4 triple here.
They're the tables in the
And
rooms.
that means
Makes sense.
it probably... Oh, well, no, hang on. If that's a 1, that's a 2. We can do Sudoku. So that's
We'll
a 4,
name the other
that's a
squares when we
3,
get to them.
That's a 2.
I want to give each square its moment in the sun.
In this box is a bit restricted. This it's actually lovely. It's very, very odd, but it's lovely.
I think Jay Dyer's comment on this on LMD was, well, that was delightfully weird.
What on earth does that mean? Is there something... This square now? Ah, I see. Yeah, okay. This is another weird point. But I now know where 4 goes in this box. It goes there. For a lovely reason. Which is, again... this number is now beyond 24. And why is 24 important? Well, 24 is the maximum sum of 3 different Sudoku digits. With 9, 8 and 7 you could get to 24. And because this is more than that, because it can't be 1, 2, 3 or 4, we now know the 4 in this box must add up 4 different numbers, which means it must be centrally located. So we're adding these numbers. Let's use light green maybe. Yeah. Oh no, I could get away with a darker colour because there's no odd and evenness. There's no parity shading that we needed in this box. Right, so... Oh, and one of the digits is a 2. Ah, hang on. So the maximum they could be is 24, 26. So this is 5 or 6. And if this is 5... these digits add up to 23, and they're 6, 8, 9. And if it's 6, they're 7, 8, 9. So there's definitely 8 and 9 in these squares. This is definitely not 9. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so 8 and 9 in this column are down here.
Microstudy upset that Tall Cat beat him to the solve.
2 and 4. Oh, 1. No, nearly. I thought I was going to get 1, but I'm not. 2 and 4 are down here. I'm not sure if I can do more Sudoku. I've got a horrible feeling I'm supposed to be able to.
I don't know if Simon is going to immediately notice
What do
this
we
or
know
not,
about...
but I really like this step that is coming, or at least that I think is coming. If he doesn't do the thing that I think of as the next step, I will point it out.
Okay, I can't put 7 in this circle anymore because it can't be a 1, 2, 4 triple, because this square can't be 1, 2 or 4. So 7 is not next to its circle and it's not there. So, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is weird. That's a 7.
Oh, yep, he got it.
Okay, right.
I was really happy
this is
with
going
this.
to sort this out. Oh, zetamath. This is just very clever. It's lovely. It's lovely. It's just a series. It's like, what's the right way? It's like when a gear clicks in and all of a sudden the cogs can rotate now. Yeah, so the question we should ask is, where is 7 in this box? We've already worked out through our sort of principles that we've been establishing. It's in none of these squares and it can't be here by Sudoku. So it's not there. Now, if it was in any of these squares, you can see that that would make this a 7, 8, 9 triple. But more importantly, it would be telling us that the 7 is orthogonally next to an 8 or a 9. Well, what are we going to put there then? If 7 is next to 8 or 9, this square must be an 8 or a 9. But it can't be, because 8 and 9 are over here. So there's no way we can put 7 in here. And if we can't put 7 in there, then where are we putting 7 in column 3 at all? It's there. It's the only place it can go. And that means we can't put 7 in these squares. So these are 6, 8, 9. Plus 2 is 25. So we get a 5 here. Let's just tidy up the pencil marks now. And we know what these squares are, which is a 1, 3 pair now. We know that this is 6, 8, 9. And we know that 7 in this box is in one of these 3 places, where What can we say about that? Well, it can't go there. It just it just can't. Because if it does go there, it's next to at least a 6, and we're adding at least 2 more digits to it. So it's going to be 9, and we can't write 9 in here because this is a 689 triple. So this, in fact, becomes, weirdly, a 247 triple. And we know that 7 doesn't go next to the circle. So these squares are 1, 3, 5. And we can't have any. There's no way the 7 can sum to 1. But the 7 could sum to 2. That's annoying. If that's 7, you could have a 1-2 pair. But of course, but we know where the 7
like
is.
The stream
actually,
if you have not,
because the 7 can't go
happy
there
to have you
because
all
it will be
here,
adding
and
3 numbers up, and we can't make.
Makes everything on the channel go smoother if you like the stream, while you hopefully also enjoy being here. And by the way, I didn't actually say Happy Thanksgiving to everyone who is celebrating Thanksgiving. So if you are celebrating Thanksgiving today, Happy Thanksgiving.
3 numbers add up to only 3 or 5. This is really clever. This is really clever. So now one of these is a 1. If that's 5, this can't add up to 5, so that's not 5.
5
We're
plus
adding these
2
digits up. Now let's think about this. Y is, so if this is 1, no, that could be 4. If that's 3, it's 2. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure I can tell. If this is 3, obviously this is a 1-2 pair. If it's 5, there seem to be 2 ways to do it.
I contemplated resolving this with a given digit, but it made me feel too dirty inside because it didn't feel right with the rule set to use a given digit to do it. So it ends up getting resolved in some other way. But I contemplated for lots of reasons having a given 2 here to do it. But it just with the way that this was caring about where digits were placed, it didn't feel right. I can't really articulate why. Like, I have nothing against given digits, but in some puzzles they just feel wrong, and it just felt too wrong in this puzzle.
So 5 goes up here, and where should we look next? Could we 5 in this box, maybe? Yeah, I'm going to look at that, because 5 in this box, obviously 5 is not even, and it can't go in the circle. Because if it's in the circle, we're adding those 3 digits together, and they are not going to add up to 5. So 5 is in one of those
that is
cells.
Untouchable.
Now, what does that mean?
At least directly. This even square does actually do it, this elven square. Who will get their moment in the spotlight to have everyone learn their name.
So if 5 is here... Wow, if 5 is there, then that is a 6, and that's a 1-2 pair, because this even digit is 6 or 8, I've realised, because it can't be 2 or 4. In fact, that would cause that to be a 6. Well, no, there is a 6-8 pair. It doesn't cause it. There is a 6-8 pair. So... But if 5 is... Oh, well, no, hang on. Look, this is it. I'm forgetting my own rules. The 5 can't be next to the circle. We know that from everything we've been doing. So the 5 is here. So this is 6. That is 8. And now... I don't quite know how to pencil mark this, but if that was 5... Well, this is 9, is the first thing we know. We know that, because whichever one of these is 5, it's got 6 in its sum and 2 more digits.
You got to do enough of this with this. So here, this is similar to what I was saying earlier. This pill sorts out is this sort of ambiguity of which side something is happening on. Similarly here, this is going to handle, or this pill is going to handle this.
So these 2 digits have to be as low as they can be in order to allow the circle to have a single digit total.
Oh, poor
if
Emily.
we put 5 here and then we put 1 and 3, for example. 1 plus 6 plus 3 is 10, and that 10 is more than 9.
By the way, this elven square's name is Ambrosia. By the way, I meant to introduce Ambrosia as she became helpful in the puzzle. This is Ambrosia's moment in the sun.
So there's a 1-2 pair either. Well, they're in those positions, which might matter. I don't know.
I don't know, actually. It's possible, Microstudy.
Oh, no, lovely. It can't be here. If it's here, if this is a 1-2 pair, it breaks that cell entirely. So we can fill this in. This is 5. This is a 1-2 pair. 9 here means this is 9. This is 6. This is 6. I love the way
it took me forever when I was setting this to notice that this 9 saw that 6-9 pair. At some point, I tried to resolve the 6-9 pair the opposite way, and then realized that actually it had been resolved for forever. But I was setting in F puzzles, so of course I'm now used to Sven scanning, and so I can't see anything that has anything to do with Sudoku. So when I was setting this, it was hours that this 9 was looking at that 6-9 pair that I didn't notice it.
I am a strange character. Okay, so what does that mean? So that's not 2 anymore. So the 2 is getting a bit fenced in this box. The 2 probably... Does it want to be here? I think it probably wants to be here more than it wants to be here. This
would have been the perfect set with a blank total. Sudoku pad grid puzzle, actually.
Oh, nearly. It's quite difficult for it to go here. Because this digit, I'm now realising, is at least a 4. That's the minimum this could be. So it's 4... I mean, let's put them on. It's 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's at least a 14 total. So if this was a 2, these 2 squares would either be 5, 9 or 6, 8. But if this is a 2, I think it's much more straightforward. Because then we're adding 3 numbers up.
You can almost intuit which of those it has to be. Because it's like, well, it's either here, in which case it's forced to be exactly this, or it's here, in which case there's 17 million possibilities. You can probably guess which of those has to happen in order that the puzzle actually solves.
Okay, let's try... Well, no, firstly, let's look at the rest of this row. We need 3, 7... Oh, that's a 3 or a 7 by Sudoku. Because it can't be 9. These squares are from 3, 7 and 9, and definitely include a 9.
There was this beautiful thing that happened in box 6 that broke the puzzle in some way that I kept trying to make work that just could not work. And I was very sad.
Yeah, let's look at 3 in box 3 now. Because 3 in box 3 is not there, and it's not in any of those... in fact, it's in one of 2 positions, I think. Because of this funny rule again. You know, if we put 3 here... We're adding the circle in to the count.
It's much better if you put an AQ in it, Microstudy. It sounds much classier.
It's like a computer program that keeps going whirring round. So that doesn't work. So that means 3 in this box. It can't go here because then we're adding 3 digits to add up to 3. That won't work. So 3 is in one of 2 places. Which means 3 is in one of 3 places here. Oh, but hang on. Have I got a problem now?
I know a lot of places that 1 doesn't go in box 3.
Well, no, this is interesting. Okay, because wherever the 3 is, I am adding 3 different numbers. One of which is, oh, hang on, I see. Right, lovely. It's lovely again. It's absolutely pure, this. Because, what's this digit? Well, the answer is it's odd, and it's not 1 or 3, and it's definitely included in the count of the 3. Whether the 3 is here or here, we're either adding those 3 numbers up or these 3 numbers up. So this is included in the count of 3 different numbers.
So, yeah, so if this pill is not here, then you have to solve basically the rest of the puzzle, remembering that either this column is 2, 3, 1 or this column is 2, 3, 1, and not knowing which is which until it gets resolved by where this circle is in box 9. But that only gets resolved by basically then sort of theory crafting what those two columns look like. So this one basically spares Simon that, possibly. We'll see. Simon might do it that way anyway. But that was why I ended up really liking, in addition to aesthetics and having a pill in every box, that was why I ended up doing that.
Numbers that have to add up to a single digit total. Well, this cannot be 7 or 9 then. If we add 7 to 1 and 2, we get 10. So that
you
must
gotta
be
have
5.
one rug in every room. Totally makes sense.
And this circle can't add up to 9, so it must add up to 8. And the only way that can be done is if, oh, this is it. So the 1 has to go here now. This has to be a 2. That has to be a 3. It's the only possible fill to keep this circle down to a number that's not 9. We've got to add 1, 2, and 5 together. Actually,
Jay saying they were stuck here with a pencil mark saying 4, 5 in the odd circle. You can very much tell why this odd circle is here, because I wanted to disambiguate between those two possibilities, and I looked basically for every possible way I could imagine to disambiguate between the two possibilities, and decided, screw it, I'll put this here. In the same way that without this even square, this cell is a 3 or a 6. And then I tried to figure out all the ways that I could sort of force it to be a 6, and I decided, given that I've already used even squares, there's a natural way to resolve whether this is a 3 or a 6, and then I ended up using that same bit up here.
Let's label up some of these other things that we've already learned to true. Now, what does that mean in terms of Sudoku-age? 5 is placed over there by Sudoku. So this digit is a 6, I think. We haven't put a 6 in this column.
They don't color well, it's true. I will be honest, Gary, and I did not foresee people coloring this puzzle. I might have contemplated that consideration if I had thought people were going to color this the way that Simon has.
Oh no, 6 could still go here.
All puzzles are coloring puzzles. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't look good.
Restricted in box 9. I thought it might be for a moment. Do we know? Don't know. What about? I'm floundering trying to spot something here. 8 in this box we can do. 8 and 7 can go in. Okay, so what's this number now? It's not 8. 4, 6, 7, or 9. I don't know if that's helpful. I'm actually going to pencil mark it and then have a think. Oh, by oddness, this is an odd number. It's not 1, 3, 5, or 9, so it is 7. So that takes 7 out of there.
Yeah, I don't know how he
7.
quite...
I managed to put 8s into there. I was thinking, why haven't I got 7 as an option for that cell? It's because I'd mislabeled it. So these are from 4, 6, and 9.
Yeah, this circle is to tell you the 2 doesn't go here. That is the purpose of this circle, as I'm guessing Simon will find shortly. But there's a 5 in here, so this is a 2, 3, 5 triple. And so if the 2 went here, then that would be 3 plus 5 plus 7 is 15, but that would need a second 5 in the box. That was the reason why it's there.
Can we now... Oh, it's getting more difficult, I think, for this to be a 2. Actually, I think what we need to do is to label all these digits up. 2, 3, 5, and 6. Oh, that's a naked single, is it? Sorry, yeah, that's naked, I think. Let's just check that. In this row, we've not put in 2, 3, 5, and 6. And 2, 3, and 5, look at that cell. So that is a 6. So this is a 2, 3, 5 triple. And that square is not 2 or 5, so that's 3. So now, if that's 2, you can't do it, You can't do it because mathematically these two squares add up to 10.
And so, just to note, the reason why I could have made this 4 or 5, and it would have resolved everything the way that I thought it was going to. But the 5 here, the reason why I went with 5 instead of 4 is that actually forced the 5 into this triple, making this a 2-3-5 triple. So it would force the math, as opposed to if this is a 4, there was already a 4 here, so it didn't do as much.
So if you make this 2, this digit needs to be there as well, because this I mean, what 1 in the tens position, what it represents is the number 10 in a number. That's how numbers work. So if once you've got 10 there, it's the equivalent of this cell.
Nice, Danielle.
And so that cell would have to be the equivalent of that
it.
cell, and they cannot be equal. So the 2 goes in the corner, which is not where I thought it was going to be. And now we can't, well, this is 5, so we have to add up to 14, because we can't get any higher. That must be 9. This must be 6 by Sudoku. So that becomes a 7-9 pair. This becomes a 4 by Sudoku. We've not put something 8 into this row. So it's that 2 adding up those two numbers is what we got. So the maths looks good, doesn't it? That is very, very nice. Now, we need an even digit in this column, so that's the
this
only
is Felicia,
even digit
by
left
the way.
is a 6, so we can write that in.
This is the even square.
And we've not put in
Felicia.
7 and 9 down here, which we can do. 7 and 9 by our old friend Sudoku, that fair weather friend. Right, so 5 is now in one of those squares. Oh, and then what's the digit? 8. We have to think about 8 down here, don't we? Well, okay. We're adding up to a 2-digit number. I mean, I don't think that can be 8. I mean, it's a tiny point, but let's just rule that out. Because if that's 8, well, what's the way to think about this? These squares, actually, am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. 18. No, no, it's more complicated than I was thinking.
So this is the spot I intended
I can't
the
rule it
Selena
out
logic
in the way I was intending
that Selena
to,
used in box
because
2.
my
I
logic
intended
was
the
wrong in
Selena
my
logic
brain.
here.
Naughty brain. So I'm not sure I can rule 8 out from there. It might be possible to rule it out by an exhaustive process. I thought I was going to be able to do it using a trick. All right, so where should we look now? Oh, probably 6 in this box might be. 6 is very restricted in this box. It's in one of these two squares. So if this was 6, one thing I can see is that if that's 6, we'd be adding those digits up to get to this number. But this is the units digit in both of those numbers. So this would have, these two squares would have to add up to 10.
And this is exactly the logic that I intended in.
Well, obviously, then that can't be 9.
Over in box 8. So
it can't be
when
7.
This logic got repeated in box 6, if you use this pill, you basically do the same exact logic that I was intending the setter or the solver to do either way. So I was happy.
Because this would be a 3. So the only way this works is with a 3 here and a 7 here. Well, that might be possible. I can't rule that out.
Daniela?
Okay, so let's get rid of the red.
What
about if this was 6? Then we need these two to add up to some number that has no relationship with these, other than you can't repeat a digit. So that feels less restricted. Okay, so maybe it's not where 6 goes, actually. It might be something different. It can't be 9 in this box, can it? We've done 5. What am I missing here?
I mean, he has a 2 here that looks at this and makes it so he doesn't have to think about min-maxing this pill in order to know that this is a 1. So he's trying to avoid having to do some ugly proof that this isn't a 2.
I mean, I've not thought about
9
9 in this box at all, but I suppose... Okay, so 9 by Sudoku doesn't go there. We know it can't go next to its circle. It can't go in the middle in this box, because if it went in the middle, it'd be adding 4 different numbers together. So that's not the greatest restriction in the world, is it? It's in one of those 4 positions. Well, is there some reason... If we do put it there, we're adding 3 different numbers up to get no more than 8.
I was kind of disappointed by that
Again,
micro-study, but
that
it ended
seems
up
okay
resolving
to me.
itself.
I'm not seeing why that's difficult. Ah, this is 2, so this is 1. So maybe that's where we have to go next. So, yeah, okay. So that's 1.
Thank you, Naverio. I hope you're doing well.
Sudoku is our friend. Okay, yeah, there's something going... There's definitely more going on with 8 now than there used to be in this box. But can we do more with the 7 now? Not really. We know something odd, which is that there is a sort of fictitious Kropki dot between these 2 squares. Let's try and delineate that somehow. Those 2 are 1 different. And we know that because the sum of those 2 digits is equal to that digit. So if this was 2, this has to be 3. If this is 4, this has to be 5. So there's like a white Kropki dot between those 2.
Excellent,
1.
He is clearly learning from my
there.
stream
That knocks
how
out
to
one
denote
of
things.
Oh well, no, it doesn't. I thought it was going to be really good, but it doesn't. It just knocks. It knocks 9 into one of 3 positions. I think where we're meant to look now is here. I might be wrong, but it feels like 8 is more restricted than it used to be. Could we, for example, rule 8 out? I think we can rule 8 out from these 2 squares, can't we? Because if 8's in either of those 2 squares, we're summing 2 digits to get a 2-digit number, one of those digits being 1, and the other digit being no higher than 5. That clearly doesn't work. So 8 is in one of those 3 cells. So 8 is now in one of these 2 cells in box 5. Okay. Now, if that is 8, we've now got 18 here, and we've already got a count of 7, which means those 2 squares would add up to 11, not including... Well, there's no way to do it. That's lovely. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
okay, let's look at that closely. So what we're saying is we've got to get to 18, adding these 4 digits together. Well, these are already 7, so these have to be 11, but we can't use 9, 8, 7 or 6 in a 2-digit sum to add up to 11. Well, 9, 2, 3, 8, 4, 7 and 5, 6 are ruled out, therefore, so that is no good to anybody. So the 8 doesn't go in the middle. So the 8 is a 3-cell sum, always in... Oh, that's lovely again. It's the same trick, but it's just lovely. Yeah, okay. So once this can't be 8... we know the 8 is either summing those 3 or these 3, always including this little cell. Well, that's the units digit in the sum we're aiming for, which means that the tens digit, which is accounting for the number 10, that's what a 1 in a double-digit number represents, that must be the sum either of these 2 squares. Well, it can't be. Can't make these 2 add up to 10 because that was going to require this to be a 1. Or these 2 squares, well, that's great because this can be a 3.
Ultimately, this 6 even square, Felicia here, what she does is to sort out which of those it is, because without Felicia, it's possible that there's a 4-6 in one of these rows as your sum to 10, as opposed to a 3-7, which then allows 2 possibilities. And so Felicia here just knocks out that possibility.
No, that rules out all 3s in the corner in the puzzle. So the weird thing about that is you still don't know what this number is. You just know you know those 2 numbers. We now know that number. Okay, that might help later with different parts of the puzzle. This is no longer an 8. We've literally got a chocolate teapot triple there, I think. That's 3 though, so that's 3. That's 5, which means that's 4 and that's 2. So in the bottom row, we've not put 4s. That's a naked single 9, and that's obviously going to be helpful for this box, isn't it? So now that unwinds our chocolate teapot over here. And we've not put 2, 4 and 5 in, so 5 goes here, 4 goes here, 12 is what we're adding up to. And they do indeed. By the mysteries of geometry, it all works out. Now, in this column, we've not put in a 3. We should do that, shouldn't we? That's 3, that's 1, that's 1, that's 2. Now, in this column, we've not put in 4 and 4 and 8's not done, apparently. Okay, we can't do that yet. But we can do this digit, that's a 4. We can learn more about these, which are 5, 7 and 8. And that's a 7, therefore, in the middle of the box. Hang on. And we're adding those 2 digits together. We'll use the colour of... Ooh, I'm running out of colours a bit.
Harsh but fair, Selena.
I might have to use grey. Okay, so this is either 6 or... Well, it can't be 9, can it? Because the 9 would have to transport itself in a TARDIS-like fashion across the box. And we're not having... No, Doctor Who doesn't work like that. So that's got to be a 6. This is an 8 now. And we've not put in 2 and 3. Oh. Apparently we can't yet. So that's a 2, 3 pair. That 7 does the 7 and the 9 at the top of the grid. That does the 9 and the 3, which does do the 3 and the 2 in a sort of roundabout manner. We've got a 7 here, 6 here, 5 here. This is box number, this one. Oh, I wonder, there's probably a way we could have done that differently. Because look, those add up to 10. And that's exactly what you'd expect, given that this is the units digit of the sum, and therefore of this little combination. I have to use black now, I've run out of good colours.
Or black.
Although for some people, black might be a good colour. That's a 4. So that's a 4, that's an 8. So that is 18, apparently, and that's going to be a 2. That's beautiful. What a brilliant puzzle. Really, really unusual. Just lovely. 96 people have solved it in just over 2.5 days. Well, I'm not surprised. A great, great treat, as usual, from a great, great constructor. Loved it. Really, really, it's a weird rule. In fact, when you start the puzzle, you think, wow, it feels like it's not much of a constraint at all, but it's a mighty constraint, especially with the single-digit circles, because you can't put the box number digit next to them, which is something that is not at all intuitive until you really make your brain focus on it. Brilliant. Loved it. Let me know how you got on in the comments. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.
Thank you, Simon, for that, as always. Simon didn't actually take anywhere close to 52 minutes because the whole video is only 48 minutes long, and the first some chunk of the first 10 minutes of that are the rules in that. So Simon actually solved it in about 38 minutes or so. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, Carl. Yeah, I was very happy with how this one worked out. But it was just pure serendipity that when I was done setting it, I looked at this and said, oh crap, what is the sum of the digits next to the 6 in box 6? And it happened to be 18. And I was like, oh, hey, I could just draw that in. So the entire puzzle is unique without this, even if you have to do some stuff that I would say is fiddly over down in the corner. So less fiddliness. I was happy all around. It did a 24-minute feature for a puzzle you solved in 45 seconds. That sounds about right. Naverio is a very fast solver. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, it's unique without this circle? Is it nice without this circle, or is it unique but unpleasant without this circle? I did actually afterwards, I tried to do this puzzle. I removed all the odd even squares and tried to do the puzzle to see if I could do any of the if I could do any of it, and I couldn't did not see a way around any of them. There were some really ugly things that I came across while I was setting this, where I would realize that something was forced, but in some way that I would not really wish upon a human being. So a lot of times there in setting this, it would either turn out it was broken or would turn out it wasn't broken, but there was a deduction you could make that was horrible. So I sort of rewound and then tried to set it a different way. So I was overall happy. But yes, thank you everyone for keeping me company this Thanksgiving. I hope you had a good time watching this. If you are new to the stream, by all means, we stream 3 days a week at least, including tomorrow. So if you want to come watch me do some Sudokus that are not by me, we can do that. Also, Tristan is telling me that I should announce that the Sudoku Con Cabaret is doing a stream of more Sudoku after I wrap up, which is going to be in just a moment. So thank you to everyone. And huge thank you to everyone who supports the stream and keeps all of the Sudoku juices flowing. It's not Cabaret. Tristan literally wrote Cabaret. Oh, it's Carabet. Carabet. Could you tell that I'm dyslexic? Literally said Cabaret, and I was like, no, it says Cabaret. I can see it. But now the B and the R have changed positions. So Sudoku Con Carabet. I don't know what that means, but enjoy their Sudoku, and thank you for subscribing. Calfantos Nevas, thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. I mean, I hope there'll be a Sudoku Con Cabaret. I mean, something consenting adults here or something. I don't know. Anyway, thank you everyone for hanging out. Thank you to everyone who supports the stream and keeps me making puzzles, keeps me streaming stuff, all these sorts of things. And thank you to the people who donate at the top level: David, Nori, Franco, Daniel, Danita, and Nell. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you all real soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.